There is no reason why good cannot triumph as often as evil. The triumph of anything is a matter of organization. If there are such things as angels, I hope that they are organized along the lines of the Mafia. International affairs is very much run like the Mafia. The Godfather does not accept disobedience, even from a small storekeeper who doesn't pay his protection money. You have to have obedience, otherwise, the idea can spread that you don't have to listen to the orders, and it can spread to important places. Of course, the biggest mafia in Russia has always been the government, in Soviet times, the Communist Party, and now a circle of former KGB and FSB. People love stories about the Mafia, the Godfather, American gangster. Legislating morality doesn't work, see, Prohibition. It produced the Mafia. I'm from Indiana. I know what you're thinking, Indiana. Mafia. But in Indiana it's not like New York where everyone's like, we're from New York and we're the best, or we are from Texas and we like things big. It's more like we are from Indiana and we're gonna move. People call me a Motibach now. I used to be a Marxbach. I was part of what I now call the intellectual mafia. I used to believe in it, and worked for it. My eyes opened up when I began to travel, and meet different kinds of people. When I'm back in New York, and this is a terrible thing to complain about, I eat a lot more really good food than perhaps I'd like to. So many of my friends are really good chefs. It's kind of like being in the Mafia. It's very easy to copy Swedish House Mafia, or Avicii, or Skrillex, or whatever. People listen too much to each other and are too much inspired by each other. Yet there are film stars like Amitabh Bachchan, Dharmendra who never allowed the Mafia to dictate terms to them. But starlets like Monica Beatty used the Mafia connection to win stardom and is now paying heavily. People say, gee, you do a lot of Mafia movies. I think I've done 2, out of 60. 3-6 Mafia, we were always doing different kinds of things, and we like rock music, we like whatever, not saying they was rock, but they had a little rock and roll with some of their music, a little rock with it. The same liberty that protects me also protects members of the Mafia. Italy is a tough country to be a comedian in. I can't invent stuff like this. Nearly 80 crooks in parliament, that's about 1 crook in 12. It's worse than Scampia, the most dangerous Naples slum, which is infested by the Camorra, the Neapolitan Mafia. There, the criminals are only 1 in 15. In the Nordic countries, there are hardly any societal problems, but we writers are bloodthirsty people like anyone else, so we have to quench this thirst with literature. If you live in a mafia state with lots of violence on the streets, you tend to write beautiful poetry. I wasn't aware of it at the time, but I was a big favorite with the Mafia. It was dangerous to hit the wrong kid in my neighborhood, because a lot of the guys I played with had fathers in the Mafia. Economics taught in most of the elite universities are practically useless in my context. My country is dominated by drug economy and a mafia. Textbook economics does not work in my context, and I have very few recommendations from anybody as to how to put together a legal economy. But I never imagined that I could ever have a career in music. I always thought it was like a mafia, that you had to sell your soul and know the right people and be in the right place. The racing bug is never going to go away. It's like the Mafia. I lost 30 pounds to play my character in The Mexican, but people don't take to skinny Mafia men, and I don't feel right when I'm thin. A group of politicians deciding to dump a president because his morals are bad is like the Mafia getting together to bump off the Godfather for not going to church on Sunday. A rumor that followed me forever was that my family was in the Mafia. For years I had to live with it. They'd call me the Mafia Princess, so I rolled with it for the rest of high school. People even joke about it today. There is no single field of activity, not a single institution, free of the most brutal sort of corruption. Russia has bred a world-class mafia. I don't think I will do a mafia character again. I want to get away from the violence a little bit, because it is starting to bother me personally. The people in Iraq lived essentially good lives. They had brilliant health and education systems. Saddam actually created an incredible infrastructure in a very difficult country, but they were a mafia family. If you said anything against that regime or that family, you would be killed instantly. In my real life, both my bosses are gay. On The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Andy Cohen is gay, everybody at Bravo is gay, we call them the Gay Mafia. Over at Glee and The New Normal, my boss Ryan Murphy is gay. On the show, my boss, played by Andrew Reynolds, is gay in real life. I'm surrounded by all my gay bosses. You know, Castle's the kind of guy that when he meets somebody, that's a connection for him. He remains connected to the people that he meets. That's the kind of guy he is, be they criminals, gangster rappers, mafia guys, art thieves, whoever it is, he nurtures those relationships. My father's best friend, Giorgi Terra, was an Italian guy. The children and the cousins and nieces and nephews were children of the Mafia. Those were the children he grew up with. If you want to go to a safe neighborhood, go to where the Mafia is. 666 Mafia and Mystical in Atlanta was one of my first shows. I remember how sweaty and smashed up everybody was, and it was so punk rock. I hate Mafia wars.